All right, so I just picked one right here a few minutes ago, so I've learned another lesson. This grass right here kind of just hovered up, so I thought I'd move some of that back. And boy, I clipped one, but I wished I wouldn't have. Right there's the top part. I'll put it in there. Right here's, look at that. That one was dark. He was hard to see. Makes me wonder how many I stepped overlooked. I'm sure it's been plenty. Made another trip up the creek. I knew it looked weird. There it is. Oh man, another nice one. I need to know what you guys think. Is it because of the creek and it pushing the spores down, and they're just, you know, on occasion finding a good landing spot and springing up? Is there, you know, is there something to that? It seems to be, that seems to be the case right now. Although I found a lot under that pine tree. That pine tree lap come right over this little branch, and I'm almost convinced that the reason those were there is because they've washed down this little creek when it's got up and caught the spores, and they've just found a good place to go ahead and spring up. So again, I am no hickory chicken finder professional, that's for sure, but everything I found has been fairly close, actually within 10 feet of water, 10-15 feet of water. So you may be onto something. Let me know what you think. Found this will be the smallest one I've found today, but I won't be back. It's eating size, so I'm getting it. Oh man, look at that thing. I've not found any in this strip through here about, I don't know, 60 feet, 50, 60 feet. The last one I found was the big one, and it was right there. And that's the low spot. I mean, that's the least height on the creek bank right there. And it was close to the water. So my theory is that the water gets up and comes down that creek, and when it gets up, it kind of swirls up on that, left a spore. It gets down in this deeper part where the creek bank is much deeper. The water can't get up out of the banks, and therefore it's just a theory. It's just something I'm curious about. Therefore, I'm not finding much right here. But here's the pine tree right there where I started and found 6 or 7 in that pine tree. And you'll notice the creek rolls around, goes right under that tree lap, and it gets very shallow and marshy right there. So I think there's something to that theory. You let me know. Okay, I think it's more evidence of my theory. I come out of here, creek got big right here, so no real place for it to wash up out of the banks much. But coming out of this holler, there's a little ditch. So I thought, well, it'll be worth a look, just kind of come through here, and whenever I find it kind of spreading out, getting out of the rut, maybe I'll find something. And I walked down here and I have found the granddaddy. This thing is massive. Look at this. Look at that thing. All right, so there's my haul. Here's my pocket knife laying next to them to kind of give you an idea of the size. They're all pretty big, except I've got 4 right here, 1 small one. These 3, I mean, they're not terrible small. They're the smaller ones. The rest of them are really nice size. These 2 are giants. These 4 here. This one, I mean, there's some really big ones laying in there. So pretty excited about the success today. Like I said earlier in the video, I showed you my theory about why I found these and why I found them where I found them. But I found them, not today, but I have found them in odd places before. I guess wherever the spore drops at, you know, stops at. But if you know of a better place to look, or you know, you have your own theory about where to find them, put it in the comments, because I don't know, I might be able to take your advice. I promise you I'll take your advice and I'll try it, because if you're having success with it, there's a chance I might have success with it. So all right, we're going to clean these babies up and get ready for the skillet. Well, I came out this evening, thought I'd look for some mushrooms. Well, I have been looking for some mushrooms. This is here on my property, and I've never had any luck finding any here, but I always feel like I'm going to. Not found any mushrooms, but I have found some poke. Some fresh poke. This makes really good greens. You slice it up, the stems when they're young. You got to get them when they're young and tender. If you wait till they get up a little bit, they get tough and they ain't fit for eating. So you got to find them tender, which is right now. And I got a bag here. I'm starting to see a few little sprigs popping up. I'll have poke greens to go along with my mushrooms, and I was going to have elk steak with it, but we're going to wait and have that later on in the week. So tonight we're going to have canned deer meat with onions and peppers smothered in cheese. I got a bag somewhere. Now, if I'm not mistaken, the encyclopedia will tell you that this plant is toxic, and I'm sure if you ate it raw, some more, that it would be. Probably same as the mushrooms. I'm not eating it raw. What I really love about the whole idea of poke is the fact that people back in the Depression days, look here, you don't see Psycho? the Wonder Goat. He's fixing to get him a playmate this week. But our people, especially back in Depression era days, they had to eat whatever they could find, and poke was kind of readily available, I guess. And it may have been eaten long before that. I'm sure it was. But I think it became pretty popular back during the Depression days, along with, you know, the Morels, possums, dandelion, raccoon, groundhog. I did get to eat groundhog for my first time this year. Smoked groundhog, and it was actually really good. I'm sure that, like anything else, it has to do with the preparer. And that fella done a great job up in Illinois when we were deer hunting up there. Went to a Bible study, and the guy's house we were at made us some smoked groundhog. Hey, Psycho. He's a bit skittish. Here's a little sprig of it. Of course, you can see the adult right there's what it was last year. Just a big old, if you see that big old weed looking thing with all the purple berries on it that the birds eat and then drop on your car, on your windshield, looks like somebody hit you with a purple paintball gun. That's poke when it's mature. Don't eat the berries. Well, I got a small mess of poke. Looks like pretty good eating tonight. And we'll get it all put together and hopefully show you a video. I don't know how good my Sasquatch boogie cooking video is gonna go, but we'll see. I didn't really want to bore you with all the prep work, but all I done was wash the poke, pulled the leaves off, took the stems, diced those up like so. I'll just, bread them like I would okra if I was going to, put some flour on them, a little bit of oil, maybe even crack an egg in there and kind of mix it up and fry that. And right now I've got the leaves, I've got them simmering right now, and what I'll do with them is boil them for about 12-15 minutes and get them pretty tender, and just make sure that I kill any critters. I soaked them in salt water for about 4 or 5 minutes just to, again, debug them if there was any left on them after I washed it. So I'll just boil those down, wilt them a little bit. I'll strain the water off of them, heat up the skillet, maybe just the same skillet that I fry these stems in. Throw that in there with a little bit of water and let that water just fry down. Throw me an egg in that, and it'll have your tongue beating your lips off. So that's what's going on right now. While that's happening, I'll probably start getting my mushrooms ready. The canned deer meat right here, that won't be any trouble. I'll throw that in a skillet, heat it up pretty good, throw some peppers and onions in there, smother it in cheese. We'll be eating like kings tonight. Okay, so I boiled the greens down, and now I put them in a frying pan with a little bit of oil. Just gonna let that oil cook down some. They're done, but I'm just gonna cook them down, cook the oil off of them a little bit, I'm gonna crack 1 egg, stir it up in there and let that fry with it, some salt and pepper, and if I want to put some other seasoning in there I can. I've got some of the mushrooms on. I'm getting the rest of them ready. The stems, however, I burnt, so I had to throw those out. I let them sit. I forgot that I had my eye on a little hotter than what I meant to, and when I went to turn them, they were burnt. So out with those, and now it's the greens, the mushrooms, and the canned deer smothered. So we're working on it. All I've done with the mushrooms is breaded them with some flour and cornmeal, and some oil on them, and I'll shake some seasoning on those. I had big plans to do some other things with them, but I think for tonight, I'm just gonna fry them up like normal. Nothing special. Salt, pepper, maybe a little bit of garlic powder, and call it good. A few onions and jalapenos. Mushrooms are done, and I seasoned them with some garlic powder and some of this mixed salt stuff, and I put a little blackened seasoning on it because my family likes the blackened seasoning. Now I'll get out the canned venison, throw that on there, let it get good and warm. That's all it takes. Throw the cheese to it, and hopefully we'll eat it and won't die.